I have a confession to make. I am scared of going to the dentist. I know I am 39 years old. I'm a mom of 3. I'm a wife. Like, I'm I'm an adult. I'm adulting. But the thought of going to a dentist, it terrifies me. Every time I have to go, I will wait until literally the last minute where I cannot tolerate the pain anymore. So a couple of weeks ago, I realized that I needed to go because one of my feelings came out. Did I not postpone? I postponed and postponed until finally I realized that no, I need to go. And this is not a reflection of the dentist that I go to, but it's a reflection of my childhood. It's a reflection of past traumas. I want to talk about how I hate how people romanticize poverty. You know how people go out there and says, it made me who I am strong because of it. And people as adults, as parents, we are so scared for our kids, especially kids that we are able to afford for them, because we are afraid that maybe we are spoiling them, or they are going to be spoiled brats, or we are afraid that because they are experiencing softness, they are experiencing the easy life, it means that they won't be responsible. I am one of those parents. But every time I have to decide between the childhood I lived and the childhood I'm giving my kids, I am going to choose my kids' childhood. How does this relate to me going to the dentist? This is how it relates. Growing up, I did not go to the dentist. I don't know about you. If you went, please comment below. I did not go to the dentist. It was not a thing, you know. If you had a toothache, if your tooth was shaking, they will just take it out from home. There was always an old man or an old woman who had the necessary qualifications to do it. But we never went to the doctor because we are like, oh, my tooth is painful. It was not a thing because we had so many things that we were worried about. We were worried about having food for tonight, or having food to go to school, or having food in jail. So worried about you having a toothache, honestly, it was not on the list of priorities for our parents. And that does not make them bad parents. It was just their reality. I remember the first time that I went to the dentist, I think it's when I already had my son. I was already working. So even when I started working, it was not a priority for me. When I started working, I think I was 24 years old. No, 22 years old. When I started working, I already knew that I needed to take my mom and my sisters out of the cycle of poverty. So, and that is a reality for a lot of us, especially people the 80s who grew up in the 70s and the 80s, some of the 90s. So I knew that when I started working with my salary, I needed to build a house for my mom. We lived in a shack. Then later on, my stepdad, we had this one room. You know that one room that you separate with curtains? We had that. And we separate with curtains, and the other part is like the kitchen, then the other part is like the sitting room. So I knew that I did not want my mom to live like that for the rest of her life. So when I started working, I was not thinking about Joey. I was not thinking about how I can now start going to the dentist. I was not thinking about how I can now start buying my own car or having my own place. I was thinking that I need to go back home and build a house for my mom and my sisters. And that is a reality for so many Black people, Black South Africans. And that is why so many of us are now trying to heal from some of the traumas, our childhood traumas. So I went to the dentist on Friday. And guys, I literally cried. I was crying there. And the doctor even said to me that is it really so painful? And I said, it's not that it is painful, but it is the trauma and the phobia of what going to a dentist means. I hate injections in jail. So the injections that I have to, like, I was closing my eyes, but I was crying. And I couldn't understand. I tried to tell myself, no, calm down. And I know that at the end, I'm going to be okay. Mara, that did not really work. I was only fine at the end. And it was not the doctor. He was so kind. He was gentle. The assistant, she was also very kind. But it's the reality of growing up poor. Growing up poor, there are things that you are not exposed to. There are things that you do not get. And some of the lessons, they are so hard when you have to learn them later on. They are not easy. And I'm just thinking about it currently in our current economy, where for some people, you have to now think, do I continue paying insurance for my car or do I buy food? Do I even have a car now or do I need to sell it so that I can afford? And sometimes, do I really need a medical aid? Because you feel like the amount I'm paying is so much, especially if I'm not often sick. It is not an easy life, and I hate it when people make it seem like the only way for us to gain, to be responsible, to be hard workers, the only way for us to have those qualities, it should be done through poverty. Poverty can never, guys, it is not a luxury. It can never be a thing that teaches us how to be skilled, a thing that teaches us how to be disciplined. We have to find other ways as parents. We have to find better ways. I don't want my kids to live with fear. I am still unlearning. I am still unlearning, and I'm still learning that I'm okay. I'm safe, I'm still learning that it's okay for me to buy myself a cold drink. It's okay for me to buy myself earrings without feeling guilty, because that was not modeled to me. That was not my focus. That was not my intention when I was growing up. My intention was that I need to break this cycle for my family. We call it black tax. And some people get angry, they don't like it. But I know that there are some people who are not really living for themselves because they have to take care of everyone else before they can take care of themselves. And we can talk about boundaries. Mara, when you come from a family or a background where you are the first, you are the only one, you are the success story of your family, it is not easy to say, no, they will see to finish. It is not easy to say, I'm not bothered. I'm going to focus on me. It is not easy, because how can you be successful? How can you flourish out there when your family is not flourishing? So this is my plea to us as parents, Black parents specifically. We need to find a better way. Poverty can't be the goal. Poverty can't be the standard. It can't be the only way we are teaching our kids to be responsible, to be accountable, to be disciplined, to be hard workers. We need to find other strategies. It can't be all toxic things. Poverty is toxic. It is a system that was designed to destroy us. And we cannot normalize it now and make it seem like it was a good thing. It was not a good thing. It was not a good thing that you went to bed hungry. It was not a good thing that you stayed in a shack. It was not a good thing that you were anxious and worried about whether you're going to have food tomorrow or not. That is not the standard. It was wrong, and we should never let anyone make us feel like they did us a favor by allowing us to suffer. Every year I get so annoyed after matric results come out, and people share the stories of the kids who were studying without electricity, or who had to cross rivers and everything in order for them to go to school. And they will share their stories like, despite it all, they got 7 distinctions. And my thing is that, at what cost? Can you imagine the future that child could have had if they had electricity, if they had resources, if they went to a school that had computers and all these things? So we cannot celebrate that kids are still struggling. We cannot celebrate that we still have people who are staying in shacks, not because they want to, but because of the standard of living, because there are no jobs. We cannot celebrate, guys. We cannot celebrate that there are kids who are still using toilets that are not flushing. We cannot celebrate that there are kids who are still going to school hungry, who are sleeping hungry. No, we need to do better. And we need to fight it. We can't accept this. This is not normal. This is not normal. I don't have a solution, Mara. I think it starts with me understanding that this is not normal. And accepting that the fact that my 4-year-old Asante, she was saying to me and her dad, she's like, Daddy, for my birthday, I want to go on a holiday. That is normal. That is what I am fighting for. That is what keeps us going. That my daughter thinks that we can go on a holiday just for her birthday. The fact that my son, Siamo, believes that we can provide for his needs, that is normal. The fact that Ogi knows that we are here, he can ask for his art things, that is not normal. That is normal. We really do not talk enough about the trauma of growing up poor, the trauma of not having. As I'm mentioning this, I just want to share something. I went to an event that was so beautiful, and one of the things that really bothered me, when it was time to eat, the food was finished. And the reason why the food was finished is because people, they gave themselves so much savings without thinking about, okay, there's a long queue. Why don't we wait for other people to eat first before we can have seconds? And this is not a first. I'm sure it's not a first time you show it. You've seen it, where you go to an event and a person, their plate will be so full, and some of them, they don't even finish the food, and you'll be looking at them and wondering why. Or you go to a place and people, they finish the food without considering other people who have not eaten them. The reason it's childhood, it is the after effects of poverty. Because poverty makes you believe that there is not enough. It makes you believe that everything must come to you. And it makes you fear tomorrow. And it makes you be afraid that, what if tomorrow there's no more food? So whatever you have, you just want to keep on eating. That is why I'm against hoarding. Hoarding is not normal. It is not, we were not created to be hoarders. We were created to be givers. So when you hoard things, whether it's food or clothes or material things, you need to find out what is making you keep those things. What are you afraid of? Because sometimes it is deeper than that. And sometimes maybe it's not deeper, you just like, Mara, you need to think about it. So if you are one of those people, please find help. Please know that you are supposed to live in abundance. You were not created to live in lack, and don't let the world convince you otherwise. And your kids were not created to live in lack. And I know that sometimes life, it forces us, but you should fight it. Yeah, so this is me. I did go to the dentist and it really helped me. But I want to do better, because I was thinking about my kids. that if they see me afraid of going to the dentist, how are they going to have a positive relationship? Oki is fine, he doesn't mind it, he actually wants braces. So the plan is to normalize it for my kids, that they must go twice a year and they must see me doing it. Thank you so much for watching until so far. So what is your experience? Do you go to the dentist? Are you afraid of it, or you look forward to it? And what are your thoughts when it comes to the topic of poverty and teaching our kids to be responsible people without fear? Yeah, let me know below.